I am a deist, meaning that I believe in God, but I believe that religions and sacred texts are man-made. I do not deny the existence of God. On the contrary, I believe that God is the creator of everything, but I have a quite different perspective regarding how humans try to understand and represent this God. Religions have emerged as social and cultural constructs created by humans over time, and therefore, I do not believe that they are absolutely true. Humans have tried to understand and explain God within their historical and cultural contexts. However, these efforts have been shaped by the limited ways of thinking of humans and the influence of their times. Thus, I believe that religions are texts that change over time, transform, and are molded by various cultural influences. My belief in the existence of God is based entirely on the observation of the order, beauty, and complexity present in the universe. I feel that everything in the universe exists within an order, moving in harmony within a grand universal law. The sense that everything has a purpose and that there is a plan beyond mere coincidences reminds me of the existence of God. However, this God is not a being that tries to communicate through humans or imposes strict rules and laws upon them. God is the creator of everything, yet is not obliged to introduce himself directly through people. The presence of God is revealed in the order we see in nature and the universe. In a way, God is the universe itself. The laws of nature, scientific discoveries, and the formation of the human inner moral consciousness. These may be signs of God to us, but they do not indicate a direct intervention of God's will or command. I think that religions, rather than helping us understand God's true message, have generally emerged as cultural and social constructs. Throughout history, religions have been used as tools to govern societies, maintain order, and influence people's moral values. Each religion has emerged in a specific geography, within a particular culture and historical period, and has been shaped over time by various social and cultural interactions. In this context, religions are a reflection of human history and cultures. However, to believe that these religions and sacred texts offer a single, absolute truth is, in my opinion, the greatest mistake humans make in their understanding of the universe and God. Sacred texts and religious writings were written in their own times and reflect the cultural, social, and political conditions of that era. These texts were shaped according to what the people of that time experienced, felt, and believed. Recognizing that the teachings of prophets and religious leaders were based on the social conditions of their eras and constitute a structure that changes over time is one of the cornerstones of my deist perspective. Especially, Hadiths are, for me, purely historical narratives. They were written after the prophet's death and have taken on different interpretations over time. The claims that these hadiths reveal an absolute truth do not convince me at all. Most hadiths were nourished by the socio-political conditions of the time and the religious quest of that period. Some hadiths were created according to the individual and societal needs of that time, and at times were shaped with the aim of increasing the influence of religious leaders on society. Believing that these hadiths are accurate records of the words and actions of the prophet contradicts the natural flow of history and the complexity of human nature. Historically speaking, long before hadiths were written, people began to shape their beliefs only through oral traditions. This does not mean to diminish anything about them. However, believing that these texts are not based on a divine source, but are man-made, is, for me, a far more reasonable approach. In my deist perspective, the existence of God can only be understood through a personal journey of discovery. Our relationship with God does not rely on external teachings or any religion. It is entirely an individual journey. Every person must discover God and the meaning of the universe on their own internal path. The attempt of religious institutions, beliefs, and teachings to steer people in a certain direction hinders human freedom and personal discovery. Every individual must question and explore their inner moral values, thoughts, and feelings to understand God. This means that instead of following what religions and sacred texts teach, We should discover God in the light of the order we see in the universe, nature, and our inner moral consciousness. Religions may have emerged to promote peace, order, and moral values among people, but that does not mean they contain universal truths. Individually, the way we connect with God is through a direct bond with God. This bond is not determined by any religious teaching or social structure. For me, God is the creative power behind everything and the reflection of that power. He reveals himself in the entire universe, in every being, and in every natural phenomenon. The laws of nature, the perfect order of the universe, and the moral values and conscience that humans feel are all signs of God's existence. When a person embarks on an inner search, they discover how everything in the universe is interconnected, how valuable life is, and that humans are part of this great order. This is what defines my relationship with God. Religions may have aimed to keep societies together, maintain social order, and shape the moral values of people. However, this does not mean that they always offer the true and absolute truth. People must continue to discover God and the meaning of the universe through their inner journeys. This discovery should not be based on any religious dogma or man-made teaching. Because every person's relationship with God is different, this relationship must remain an individual journey. My belief in the existence of God comes from the deep order and harmony found in nature and the universe, and this order reminds us of the truth that everything has a purpose and that the entire universe reflects a creative power. In my Deist perspective, a person's relationship with God cannot be determined by external teachings or religious institutions. This relationship is an internal journey for each individual. On this journey, people must discover the truth by relying on their own free will, inner moral values, thoughts, and feelings. I do not believe in religious dogmas and absolute truths. Instead, I believe in discovering God through nature and the universe.